What are some practical tips for budgeting for your next vacation? Let's go through a 101 course today so you can plan your next great trip. Welcome to Money Talk with Skylar Fleming, where making sense of your money is our specialty. Let's get talking. Thank you so much for joining in today's video. This video is an expansion on my most recent podcast episode with Danny Kofke. We're diving a little bit further into how you can take some practical tips for budgeting for your next vacation. We talked about that specifically with Danny, and he shared some fantastic insights, but I want to share some more insights from other podcast episodes, from different guests, and some insights that I use in my life with my wife about how we manage and plan for our vacations. I want to make sure that you can spend your money on your next vacation without feeling guilty about it. Because we all know when you have a plan for your money, it's a whole lot easier to spend and it's a whole lot more fun because you're not coming back with mounds and mounds of credit card debt. And it's a whole lot easier because you know that you've planned to spend the money, so go ahead and spend it. So let's go through a whole bunch of topics today that's going to help you plan your next great vacation. So first, we're going to talk about sinking funds. Let's hear from episode 3 and episode 21 from way back about how great sinking funds are.
But it's a great place for vacation budgeting. My wife and I budget every single month for a vacation, even though we don't go on one every single month. But that makes it much easier when vacation season rolls around to say, yeah, let's do it. We have the money set aside already, and we have for the last 12 months. Those sort of things are a lot easier with sinking funds.
Vacations are another perfect example of a place a sinking fund can be used. Now, obviously, a sinking fund in this instance looks a lot more like a savings plan, but the goal should be to budget every dollar you have. So if you make a plan and budget money towards vacation, then you're creating a sinking fund. Then when your vacation rolls around, you easily have enough money to pay for everything. And you even have a little bit extra, most likely to act as a little bit of a vacation emergency fund.
Those 2 episodes go way, way back. Episode 3 was recorded years ago when I first started the podcast, but that's how long I've been talking about sinking funds because I love them. My wife and I use them for really everything, honestly, which is a bit more complicated than you need to be. But sinking funds help you tremendously when it comes towards saving for your next vacation. In my most recent episode with Danny Kofke, he gave a great example of how sinking funds can be used, and he talks about how to break up your vacation expenses and your planned expenses and how to use that to figure out how much you need to budget each month to save for your next great vacation. Let's hear what Danny had to say.
Well, I guess it may be a little boring, right? But you know, boring usually wins the race. But the thing is, it's kind of like with other things, and I kind of refer to them as known upcoming non-monthly expenses. So things that aren't necessarily a monthly expense, but you know at some point in the year, they will be expense. Another thing is like auto insurance premiums or life insurance premiums, things like that. We know they're upcoming, but they're usually not a monthly bill. So what we do with summer vacation is you plan ahead, and I'll just make it, as a former elementary school teacher, I like to keep the math easy. So let's just say by this time next year, so next February, you want to go on vacation and you want to spend $1,200. So keep it easy. Well, that's 12 months away. So do $1,200 divided by 12, $100 a month. So every single month as part of your budget, set aside $100. You do that for 1 year. When next February comes around, you're going to have $1,200 in cash to spend on your vacation. Then you know, hey, I won't go over. And then secondly, and this, for me, it holds true. I've gone on vacation before where it has followed me home in the form of credit card debt. And I've gone on vacation before where it's paid for in advance. And I'm going to tell you, the ones that are paid for in advance are much more enjoyable to me because I can spend that money guilt-free. I know I've already saved up for it. It's already earmarked towards the vacation. So I don't have any guilt feelings of like, oh, I shouldn't be spending this because I got this bill, I'm going to have to face when I come home. No, it's already taken care of. So that is one way. It's just like I said, with most areas of our budget, we just have to plan ahead and then kind of save up for it, have an earmark of, okay, this is how much we think we're going to spend, and then set aside that amount every single month.
All right, there you have it. Thank you, Danny, for coming on the podcast and for sharing your insight in today's video. So what do? Well, you break up that cost. You consider it a known non-monthly expense, and you break that cost up over multiple months so that you can easily save for it. Because let's face it, it's really hard to budget for an entire vacation within 1 month's time. So spread it out, make it a little easier on yourself, and know that planned cost. How do you actually figure out that planned cost? Well, that's where we're going to dive a little deeper to help you plan for your next vacation because it does take quite a bit of planning. And that's honestly the name of the game, is planning. My wife and I love to plan, and really you're not going to be able to avoid planning. You're going to have to do it to some extent. So if you can do it a little bit further so that you know your cost and how much you can expect to pay, it's going to make it a whole lot easier when it comes to dividing that expense up over multiple months so that you can figure out that target savings number. When you plan ahead, you can spend guilt-free. You can spend the money knowing you planned to spend it. It makes it a whole lot easier and you can have a whole lot better of a time. You can go on really whatever vacation you want in due time. If you plan this massive, super expensive vacation, you're going to be able to hit it because you can say, I can put this much a month towards that great vacation. Sure, it's going to take me 6 years, but what a cool target that is to hit, to say, I'm going on this crazy European, like Iceland cruise that's going to cost a bunch of money and I've been saving for 6 years. You're going to go on it, you're going to spend a ton of money, and you're going to feel great about it because you planned for it. Planning is the name of the game. Rebecca and I love to plan. We have our template, and this is something that I think can be very helpful for a lot of people, is some sort of template to help you plan and research your vacations. My wife and I have our Google Doc that we copy and paste, name it for the new vacation, start to fill it out with research, fill it out with numbers and cost. Then we just plug and play it into how we want to spend the time on that vacation. But no matter what, you're not going to be able to get around the planning. So I would say make sure you're doing the planning to its fullest extent so you're getting the best bang for your buck. Or if you really are avoiding planning altogether because you just have enough money and you want to spend it on vacations, you're likely just hiring someone to do the planning for you, which is totally an option and totally okay. But make sure you consider planning so you can figure out the known non-monthly expense of your next vacation, break it up over the time period that you have to save for it, and there you go. That's your 101 course on how to save for your next great vacation. Break up that expected cost and then use a sinking fund to save for it every single month, regardless of whether you're going on a trip or not. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you were able to take something away. My main takeaway is that planning is so important. Plan to use your sinking funds, plan to spend money, and then enjoy spending the money. If you don't know how to set up a sinking fund, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you set it up. Shoot me an email, leave a comment on YouTube, and let's get talking about sinking funds. Also, be sure to check out episode 123 with Danny Kofke. It's a great episode. We talked a whole lot more about vacations and saving and using your money towards vacations. It's a great one, so be sure to search over here on YouTube or on any podcast players, and also be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future video or episode. If you have any feedback or any comments, please leave them down below in the comment section or feel free to send me an email. Thank you for watching Money Talk with Skylar Fleming. Have a great week.